We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, Faithful Acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Angry Goat Pepper Company. It is the Blistered Shishito and Garlic Hot Sauce. Now, I mentioned this in the written review, which is available in the link in the description down below. But I love Shishitos are one of my favorite peppers. Having said that, I have some huge reservations about their use in a sauce because the idea with those, I've had them a bazillion times, mostly at really, the best place to have those is a high-end sushi restaurant where they will blister them, so they have a little bit of probably sesame oil on them most of the time, blistered with a little bit of like a kosher salt sprinkled on them. That is by far the best way to have them. It's not even close otherwise. And they're a sort of pepper that I don't know that it's going to lend itself well to other stuff because it's a very, very simple concoction of flavors, which really emphasizes the peppers, in the setting I just described. And then putting it in a sauce to me is, I don't know that I would do that. I really have reservations about the flavor is going to lend itself well to that. So we have Blistered Shishito mash, distilled vinegar, olive oil, green jalapeno mash. So that was smart to add one of the better tasting and much more, honestly, flavorful peppers, which is jalapenos. We have Vermont maple syrup, dried minced garlic, and sea salt. So right off the top here, I would say that I think you're better roasting and caramelizing the garlic. I think using dried minced garlic is not the way to go here because that's a very, very forceful, concentrated garlic flavor, and using that can very quickly overpower the other ingredients, especially the subtlety of the blistered shishitos. Trying to capture that appetizer in a sauce, and I'm not saying that's what they're trying to do here, but that's probably the better thing to try to do with, and that'd be kind of what I would try to do with those peppers. And definitely they added garlic here, so I'm expecting a fairly high garlic flavor. But if you roasted and caramelized those garlics and then put them together in here, I think you're infinitely better off. And not just because that's my preferred way of having garlic, although at least partially. Oh boy, I can smell garlic from here. Very, very sort of greenish hue here. Oh boy. Okay. It saddens me to say things like this about Angry Goat because I think they make some really wonderful stuff. This actually kind of reminds me of pesto, a very light pesto. But this saddens me to say this about them, but this smells like when you open a jar of that minced garlic. That is not a positive. But I don't understand the intent of the sauce, but I love the guys over at Angry Goat, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's get into this and see what we can do. All right. Oh. Very green, very garlic heavy. And it's very chunky. It's gritty. This is from one of the later seasons of the Hot Ones, and I really have my doubts this is going to work well on wings. I'm interested, sort of, to try it, but it's we've got almost a raw, sour-ish sort of garlic aspect to it with probably the jalapenos is what I'm getting there. I'm getting a little bit of an after effect of the shishitos, but it is just stomped to death by the garlic, which wouldn't be the case had they roasted and caramelized the garlic first. Okay, so as is, I'm not a fan of the garlic like this. So let's do some cooking. Okay, so we're going to start with some Texas toast. And here we have the air fryer. Let's just put that in there. And we're going to set it for 400 degrees. You guys see that? And so here's the way that I do this in here. So we're going to start with 3 minutes. All right, after we do that, then we take it out and we flip it and we do it for another 3 minutes. And the reason we do this is to make sure that it doesn't burn. Because we're using 400 degrees for everything, if we did it for extended periods, the odds are pretty good that we're going to get it scorched. So we do one side at 400, which melts most of the butter. Then we flip it to try to get some crisp on the second side. I like mine a little bit crispy. So the last wave of this is really when we do the final prep for that, and we'll be doing that here momentarily. But after that, once you have it nice and warmed up, you can start to tell where the crisping is going to be. And from there, we're going to flip over and we're going to do a little decoration. Okay, after the second wave, so you can see it starting to toast here a little bit. So that's what we're looking for, which we should not be feeling any moisture here. We should be getting some crisp to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this on over to the station being right here. And we are going to flip them over again. And this will be the side that we are going to dowel them up with. So what we're going to do is we're doing this 3 ways. We're going to do this, which is the sauce by itself. This one will be sauce plus Parmesan. And so we're making garlic cheese bread, essentially. Not to give too much away, because I don't... This really strikes me in a sort of raw garlic way, this sauce. And I honestly am not in love with that idea. So I'm not down with that. And we're going to need more sauce here, I think. Maybe not. Let's see here. We want to be a little judicious here with this. Just for the point that otherwise we won't get proper heat distribution. So here's what we want to do is we want to really smooth this out. I think this will make a very interesting garlic cheese bread. But we're going to have just a garlic, blistered shishito and garlic by itself bread right here. All right, so I've got shaved Parmesan, and that will go on this one.
See if we can.
Coat it nice and thoroughly here. Don't be afraid to use, I'm using shaved Parmesan here. You can use powder. If you use powder, don't be afraid to put a lot on there, because the Parmesan, low moisture, generally melts kind of weird. Okay, the other one is going to be triple cheddar. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So I made garlic cheese bread in the air fryer lots of times, and this actually is the best way of doing it, I found, is 3, 3, and 2. So we're going to little judicious with the cheddar, because that will run and scorch if you go too crazy with it. That should be fine right there. So I might need to actually go 3 minutes on these rather than my normal 2, but we will throw it in, test it out, and see what we see. Okay, we are back. So here is just the sauce itself. And when I shut the drawer, a little bit of Parmesan kind of jumped ship there. We've also got here, which is the Parmesan itself. Take a look at that. Get a little bit of the Maillard effect there. And then, of course, is the triple cheese up there. Looking very lovely. Usually so here's the thing. This one actually took 3 minutes for the final stage as opposed to 2. And it's because the coldness of the sauce didn't allow the cheese to start melting right away with the hot bread, which is how I normally make it. I don't usually put sauce between those, but that's good to know, because with the rest of the loaf of this, I'm probably going to make some French bread pizza. I've got some nice pizza sauce to go with this, some nice salami. And I've got a sauce I've been meaning to play around with that in, so we'll probably do that. And this one, I won't be using this, I don't think, but this one I think will be really interesting mixed with pesto. So I am going to do that at some future point as well. I don't think it's going to be very good on wings. I have been wrong before on those thoughts, but this one I don't think I am. I'm not a huge fan of garlic wings generally, so all right, let's start with just the sauce itself. So this, they give it a 1 out of 10, but they shouldn't have, because it's a 0 out of 10. There's no heat at all here. It's slightly better this way. Very slightly, though. I'm going to put some of these cheese crunchies. One of my favorite parts of doing that in the air fryer is the cheese that spills over. You get these cheese crunchies. I'm going to throw those on. You know, long time viewers, long time blog readers will know how much it pains me to do this. Angry Goat is one of my darlings, one of my favorite sauce companies. But honestly, this is not a very good hot sauce. And it all has to do with using minced garlic. Will it improve with the Parmesan? Very different cheese than the cheddar. All right, it's better. It still is not anything I would ever want to have again, though. And there was a problem with it. It all came off in one bite. I hate to call this a waste of Shishitos, but it kind of is. You're taking a pepper that is kind of a, I guess, a little bit of a trendy pepper. Certainly, I don't know of anyone else who's tried to use it in a sauce, so, I mean, I guess there's that. Using minced garlic is just so hard to get away from that. Dried minced garlic. I think, like I said, they should have used roasted caramelized garlic. And that takes away the worst part of this. It's still, you know, one of my sort of hobby horses is questioning if something can be a hot sauce if there's no heat in it. And you wouldn't get away from that necessarily, but you would have a higher quality product had you gone with roasted and caramelized garlic. And then you probably don't have to add Vermont maple syrup for sweetness. Although I can't detect it. So I will say this: so far, the best it's been has been with that Parmesan, where you have enough of this sort of acrid taste that it sort of balance. It comes closer to balancing it. It still doesn't, but comes closer. Here, this poor cheddar is just getting beat to death. And this Texas, I don't know if anyone's ever gotten this. The Texas toast is not extremely concentrated garlic. And that is not contributing at all. The garlic flavor I'm getting is this dried mince business. I'm actually kind of shocked at the Angry Goat name on this. Well, I mean, you know, it's like I always say, anybody can make a bad sauce. They're not all going to be winners. And unfortunately, that's what we have here. I'm very, 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 very sorry to report that. I am interested to see what it does with pesto, though. I think there it might work better, but I'm not a fan of dried minced garlic. I mean, I get it. I understand why people use it. Keeps in the fridge forever. You don't have to do any prep work. A little goes a long, long, long way. But I think it's that aspect that can get forgotten really easily, that a little goes a long, long. It is the second to last ingredient in here. It is by far the more forward flavor in the sauce. Like it's that, and then there's everything else. Very last ingredient is salt, which I'm not getting a lot of. So I mean, I guess that kind of reasons, but disappointing. I'm going to say it's disappointing. Again, if you like that dried minced garlic, flavor combined with the very... So if you have fresh jalapenos, you know they have that sort of green aspect to them, you know, raw jalapenos. That actually kind of reads through here a little bit as well. Shishitos, I think you could literally take the first ingredient out of this completely, and I think you'd be really hard pressed to notice a difference. Shishitos don't, they're very thin walled. They're a very umami type pepper. They're trying to put them here, and make them the focal point. A, I don't think was successful here, but B is, I would kind of question that idea, because you're really up against it trying to do that, I think. And so I mean, this is a failure as far as it being a not a good hot sauce, and literally a bad. I mean, it's just not a hot sauce, I guess. As far as the garlic sauce, it's fine. You know, I don't like that garlic puree. There used to be a garlic puree that came in a tube, but this reminds me of that, by way of a green pepper sort of flavor as well. I am going to try to play around with it as well. Of course, it'll be in the wing thing, the first wing thing of 2024, Q1 wing thing, of course, because we have to do our coverage. And it's not unpalatable. So I should say that it's not awful, so long as you can at least tolerate garlic. Don't let me give you that impression. It's not bad tasting. It is, I wouldn't say it's great tasting, and I am going to have to try to find places to use it. I've tried it on pizza, and I have tried it as well on chicken strips. It accorded itself a bit better there, but it still wasn't anything I wanted to do more than once, and that was just really just to see kind of how it is. So I've not quite used half this bottle, actually pretty close to half this bottle. Like I said, I am going to kick it around, try it with some pesto and stuff. Maybe I'll be shocked and it'll be good on wings. I would be shocked if that was the case, but I mean, stranger things have certainly happened. But as it is, it just... I fear it's a bit ill-conceived. And I don't personally find it super successful. And again, the dominant taste is that dried minced garlic. So the reason that you use it in cooking, besides the other things I mentioned, is because you can cook all the kind of gnarly aspects of it off over time. If you just ate that stuff straight out of the jar, that would not be pleasant. And this kind of reminds me of where they're going with this. They just, like, that aspect is still unfortunately quite present. I just don't understand why they didn't use roasted and caramelized garlic. I am just at a complete loss as to why they didn't. It would have made this sauce infinitely better. And once it gets done, once they can start selling it on the Angry Goat website, if you guys want to do a collab, just make that simple change. And then, you know, we can put both our names on it. It'd be great. If not, please do it anyway, because this could be a tremendous sauce were it not for that sort of abrasive aspect to it. Still wouldn't be a hot sauce, but it would be a really great sauce, I think, nonetheless. So I guess we'll just leave it there. This is the Angry Goat Blistered Shishito and Garlic Hot Sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.